They sick of this Unapologetically Angel podcast. Now, the numbers from the podcast shows that fans are sick of it. Once again, I can't make this up. I'm showing y'all right now. She might need to get Casanat to come on to say.
I was genuinely stunned when I checked the view count on Angel Reese's latest podcast episodes. We're talking about episodes struggling to reach even 70 views, a shocking dip for someone who was once one of the most talked about names in women's sports. One episode featuring Jada Cheeves and Des Dior barely scraped together 66 views. That's not a typo, and the content a wild pivot from sports to a full hour about dating wealthy men. Only Angel's core basketball fanbase was left scratching their heads, wondering if they'd accidentally clicked the wrong show.
Angel Reese's latest podcast decision has left her listeners disappointed, primarily due to her choice of guest. Yeah, I think a lot of people were like, who cares about these people? Honestly.
What started as a noticeable dip in viewership quickly snowballed into a full-on disaster when Ree clapped back at critics by bluntly telling them to shut the F up. It wasn't just tone deaf, it poured gasoline on an already smoldering fire. Fans who had been disappointed by the content now found themselves questioning her character. It was no longer just a content problem, it became a trust issue, and just like that, the comparisons to Caitlin Clark's disciplined and wildly successful off-season started rolling, in painting an even starker contrast.
From hosting fellow athletes like Dejanay Carrington, Skylar Diggins-Smith, and basketball legend Lisa Leslie, to musicians like Sexy Red, Glorilla, and more, the Sky Forward received positive feedback from listeners and viewers. However, the most recent episode received mixed
Angel's choice to bring on Jada Chia and Des Dior, a pair more known for Instagram clout and celebrity drama than anything sports-related, was a hard left turn from what fans had come to expect. Her show had built its following on thoughtful basketball content and compelling conversations with fellow athletes. Instead, this episode played like an extended reality TV audition with endless talk about dating standards and zero mention of basketball. Fans who came looking for hoop talk got an unexpected lecture on luxury dating preferences.
Reese's podcast featured reality stars Jada Cheeves and Des Doria. I don't know. I don't even care. Who discussed their experiences on season 1 of BET's The Impact Atlanta, as well as their candid views on online criticism, dating, and career.
This podcast blunder shined a harsh spotlight on how disconnected Ree had become from her base. She assumed her audience would roll with the pivot. They didn't. What they saw was a player more interested in influencer vibes than her roots as a trailblazing hooper. The sense of betrayal was palpable. Fans felt like they were watching one of their favorites abandon the game that made her famous.
Quote, issue regarding relationships. As for Reese, she mentioned men's insecurities when it comes to women earning a higher income than their partners. Is that still a thing? That still bothers people? Okay. Quote, a lot of men don't also like women. My God, the grammar. What the bleep? A lot of men don't also like women that got their own. My God, folks, you read quotes from her, your IQ points just melt away.
And the numbers brutal. We're talking a podcast that once had the full support of Shaquille O'Neal's big podcast network, high-quality production, A-list guest serious reach. That same show is now clocking fewer than 70 views on some episodes. And the worst part, this wasn't a blip, this was a trend. The buzz that used to surround Angel's podcast was replaced with awkward silence and a lot of unsubscribes.
Following the interview, fans expressed their dismay over the responses they gave about money and relationships, feeling it overshadowed other important topics. Quote, they said a lot of nothing. The responses are dumb.
In the age of viral content and short attention spans, falling off is one thing, but watching your own fan base, your ride or die basketball supporters, completely check out, that's something else entirely. People who used to cheer her every move were now using her comment section to ask what happened to the player they once admired.
Another person added, quote, this is like the one podcast where 3 kids judge food they haven't eaten. Laugh out loud. The same goes for a commenter who said, losing brain cells listening to this podcast. I just said IQ points were literally melting away. for my brain pan as we speak.
Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark continues her upward trajectory, dropping clips that rack up millions of views and packing arenas wherever she goes. The contrast is almost painful to watch. Reese was supposed to be right there with her, an ambassador for women's basketball, a symbol of its new era. Instead, she's left explaining why barely anyone's tuning in anymore. The fall wasn't sudden, it was a slow erosion of trust culminating in a tone-deaf episode that will likely be studied for years as a case of how not to pivot your brand, because once your fans feel ignored, it doesn't take long for them to disappear. And for Angel Reese, the silence says it all.
Angel, all these women out here doing phenomenal things, but you choose rappers' girlfriends to interview, just really throws me. That's a hell of a good comment.
Angel Reese's podcast has officially hit rock bottom. Incredibly, her show couldn't even crack 5,000 views in a single week. Yes, that's not a typo. We're talking about a high-profile WNBA star with enormous media attention, major brand deals, and a built-in following from her college career, and yet her own audience couldn't be bothered to hit play. That's not just a slump, it's an outright collapse.
We have to pull up her podcast, man, because y'all might think I'm lying. I am not lying. This is not clickbait at all, guys. So as we pull up the Unapologetically Angel podcast, I mean, hell, she just released the episode 10 minutes ago. It got 66 views. This one right here got 781.
What makes it even worse is how fast it happened. This wasn't some slow fade or gradual disinterest. This was a full-blown nosedive. Her analytics looked like a blocked shot that never left the paint. One moment she had a consistent, if modest, base of loyal listeners, then almost overnight it all vanished. The timing wasn't subtle either. The moment she released that now infamous episode packed with tone-deaf commentary and reality TV fluff, the bottom dropped out.
People ain't feeling them, bruh. I mean, damn. I mean, Angel Reese haven't got over 5,000 views in over a week, dog.
The fallout was immediate, and brutal. Analysts estimate her viewership plunged by over 90% practically overnight. That's unheard of. Imagine building a platform over months, strategizing, booking guests, promoting your brand, only to see nearly the entire audience abandon ship in a matter of days. It wasn't just apathy. Fans were unsubscribing, unfollowing, and publicly distancing themselves from her. The message was loud and clear. They felt betrayed.
And it seemed like everything went downhill after this interview, bruh. I can't even lie. But it's looking like it's been going downhill since before this damn interview. I can't even lie to you. It's looking like Kennedy Carter might be, DJ Nate Carrington might be her biggest.
Even with the backing of Shaquille O'Neal's big podcast network, slick editing, and premium production value, it wasn't enough to save the show. All the resources in the world can't fix a creator's disconnect from their core audience. And that's what this truly comes down to. Angel misunderstood what her fans wanted.
If you're going in terms of breaking it up, but damn, dog, it ain't looking good for Angel, bruh. Now, I just wanted to show y'all the numbers, to show y'all I wasn't clickbaiting or picking on Angel.
These numbers don't lie. They scream her audience didn't want pop culture gossip, glamorized dating rants, or celeb guest appearances with nothing to say. They wanted basketball. They wanted behind-the-scenes insights. They wanted the authentic Angel Reese, who earned their respect on the court. What they got instead felt like a total betrayal of that identity.
She's had a lot of like rappers and these what I call D-list celebrities, which is the reality TV show. That's a D-list celebrity. They're not an actual celebrity, really and truly. It's not like they won American Idol, right?
And then instead of hearing her fans out, Angel dropped a grenade on her own credibility. When viewers expressed frustration, she didn't engage, explain, or adjust. Nope, she snapped back on Twitter with a now infamous, "Shut the F up." Those 4 words turned an already bad look into a full-blown PR meltdown.
A social media user left a harsh comment, wrote the least informative podcast on earth. Yikes.
Think about it. She had every opportunity to pivot, gracefully acknowledge the feedback, maybe say she was trying something new, and promise more basketball-focused content. It would have been simple damage control, but instead she poured gasoline on the fire. Her defiant tweet came just hours before the media started running stories about her podcast dismal numbers, cementing one of the biggest self-inflicted implosions we've seen in women's sports media.
Said she took the X and pretty much let the fans know how she was feeling. Let's pull up the tweet right now. This is the tweet right here. Angel Reese stated, "This is my podcast. Shut the F up. You don't watch. Thank you."
Suddenly, her social media platforms became Warzone's longtime supporters were openly questioning her priorities and attitude. One fan dropped the mic with this line, "We are the shareholders of your content. If you can't take the heat, get off the mic." That's not trolling, that's heartbreak from a community that once believed in her.
The comments, this one stated, "I mean, you scrapped the baby." This one too. So fans is definitely still bringing up that the baby interview, which that one never came out. She received harsh criticism from her fan base for that specific interview as well.